Hey guys, I've had a lot of requests for my back training routine, so I put this together for you. Today, I'm going to talk to you about different exercises I do for my back, my traps, as well as my calves. And I'm also going to go through and tell you the rep ranges, the sets, rest times, things like that. First exercise is going to be pull-ups. I do 3 sets. I stop 1 rep before a failure on every set, and I rest 2 minutes between sets. And I do the same thing for chin-ups. So 3 sets, 2 minutes rest between sets. For both of those exercises, you want to retract your scapula before you even start. Put your chest up high and then pull through your elbows. All right, don't think about your hands and your wrists when you're pulling. Think about pulling through your elbows. It's going to help you engage your lats better. And you can see I like to do this movement continuously, so I don't stop at the bottom. Again, for me, I get the best hypertrophy, muscle growth through increased time under tension. So a little bit in a higher rep range, and just keep moving. Up next, after pull-ups and chin-ups, I like to do Barbell Dead Rows. And for those, I'll do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps with about 2 minutes between. And when I do them, I like to pull the bar just beneath my rib cage. For the one-arm dumbbell row, 3 sets, 15 to 20 reps. And when you pull, you're definitely going to want to get nice and high up into your side of your ribs. And at the bottom, stretch and really feel your lat stretch at the bottom. So you can see while I'm doing this motion, again, it's continuous, right? I'm not pausing. I want a lot of time under tension. I want my lats to stay engaged the entire time. I'm not letting the bar stop at the floor, okay? It's coming just above the floor, and I'm pulling up and just under my rib cage, right around where my belly button is. So here's a different angle. And when I first bring the barbell out of the rack, I like to think about the top of a deadlift. So when you do a conventional deadlift and you're at the top, everything's engaged, right? You have your lats tight, you have your glutes tight, and you just kind of stand up at the bar and walk back. Then to get set up, I push my hips back, bend at the waist, right around 45 degrees. This is one of my favorite for building really wide, thick lats. So as you can see, I kind of exaggerate the range of motion with this. Come up to the top, I'm squeezing it really tight to my side, and then at the bottom, I'm letting my arm extend all the way down, and I'm letting my lat get a nice deep stretch. Another tip, when you do these, don't go too quick on the bottom, right? You're getting a lot from that controlled negative. And when you come up and you're pulling up, again, thinking through your elbow, right? Don't think about pulling with your hand or your wrist. Just imagine your elbow coming up and back, nice and tight to your side. And I prefer to do these in a bit of a higher rep range. You might get good results with heavier weight, but again, for me, it's more about the feeling of the movement and the targeted muscle. And so for myself, I find that with a slightly lighter weight and a slightly higher rep range, I really get to feel that stretch when my arm is fully extended, and when I'm pulling my elbow up and back, I'm really getting a nice contraction. So after this one, my lats are going to be pumped. All right, so the next exercise that we have is the inverted row. 2 sets. I stop 1 rep short of failure every time. 90 seconds rest between sets. You can do a cool trick by drop setting. If you get exhausted, just bend your knees. It's going to make it easier and you can keep going. Also, it's an excellent bench press accessory. After I do this exercise, we're going to do a rope cable pull down or pullover. So you can see when you watch this, it really mimics a bench press, right? It helps have with having nice control over the bar. All right, when you bench, you don't want to really go quick. You don't want to drop fast. You want to have a nice controlled descent. You want your lats to stay tight and engaged. And I find that this movement really helps develop that mind-muscle connection for bench pressing. As far as my hand placement, I like to go just outside of shoulder width. Again, for the best bench press carryover, what I find is try and mimic what you would typically do for your competition bench press. Guys, even if you have a very strong back, don't be surprised if you can only get 6, 7, 8 reps with this exercise. It is very challenging. Again, you're pulling the entirety of your body weight up. You want to touch the bar, squeeze hard at the top, and then control on the way down. And you can see here I'm going to do a quick drop set. So basically, I'll just bend my knee. Makes this a little bit easier, and I'm going to get a few extra reps just to really kind of tear up those muscle fibers in my lats. All right, so this exercise is going to be the cable rope pullover. So when you set this up, what you want to do is you want to step back, take a couple steps back away, and you want to start the motion off by feeling that stretch right away at the top in your lats. When you come down, have a very slight bend in your elbow, okay? And you're going to want to basically touch around your thigh area. Pause just a second. Contract really hard, and then come back up to that stretched position. So with a lot of back motions to get the best hypertrophy, your goal should be to stretch and squeeze. All right? So that's a squeeze and that's a stretch. Again, I find that time under tension is really important when your goal is to grow the most muscle possible. So for an isolation movement like this, you definitely want to use a weight that is challenging but allows you to get a bit in the higher rep range. And that's an excellent back finisher. Have fun with it, guys. If you want to throw out a lat spread, go for it. Next up, we got paused dumbbell shrugs. So 5 sets, 12 to 15 reps. Going to stop 1 rep short of failure. 90 seconds rest between sets. Trick with that is to squeeze and hold at the top for about 2 seconds and really stretch at the bottom. Following that, we're going to have paused unilateral calf raises. I see a lot of people in gyms use a lot more weight than they need to for this exercise, and they don't really have well-developed traps. So if you'll notice, I'm not using the heaviest dumbbells, okay? I'm only using, I believe those are my 80s. But what I am doing is I'm really controlling the motion, okay? I'm not going quick either way, up or down. At the top, I'm going to pause for about 2 seconds, right? I'm going to squeeze it really high, up near my ears. And then I'm going to let my arms just hang, all right? And at the bottom, that's going to give me a nice stretch. So you're going to stretch and squeeze. And to really make this exercise intense, kind of bump up that intensity level on that last rep, hold as long as you can, right? Hold that contraction at the top. All right, guys, so I do train calves a couple times a week, just like I do with abs and most other body parts. I find that my calves respond best with, again, lots of time under tension, so I work in a little bit of a higher rep range. For this one, you're going to want to, at the top, try to point yourself up on your toes as much as possible. And at the bottom, again, you want to feel that stretch at the back of your leg. Let your heel drop as low as possible before coming back up to the top. So the way to go about this is you're going to exhaust one leg, then you're going to switch dumbbells to the other hand, exhaust that leg, and you'll see that you're going to finish this exercise off with a drop set. And for the drop set, you're not using any weight. All right, you're again just going to put the dumbbell down, and you're going to keep repping until you cannot rep any further. And again, guys, a mistake I see happening with calf training for a lot of people is they tend to bounce, all right? You load up too much weight on a machine and you bounce up and down, but you're not going to get much from that, okay? What you will get is if you slow things down and you feel a stretch, you feel a contraction at the top, that's where you're going to get more growth. It should hurt. I got to be honest. This is one of the most painful things I do in the gym. Doesn't look hard, but trust me, if you're doing it, and you're doing the drop set the way that I have it illustrated here, you're going to feel fire at the back of your legs that lasts at least a minute. I usually have to take a break between these, to kind of roll my ankles and stretch my calves a little bit before starting the next set. And those final few reps are gonna really hurt, but you got to dig deep, man. That's where the growth's gonna be for this exercise. All right, guys. Well, if you like the video, like the video. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, and I'll put a link below for the playlist of my other training programs.